my pleasure to introduce to you the man of the hour,
Tony.
Hello and welcome to At the Gates. I'm your host, Tony, and with me today are two very special people. Let's start with the man of the hour.
Hi, my name is Nick Batters. I'm a season ticket holder at Chase Field.
And he is an extraordinary host, and I think so far this has been the best experience that someone has given their hospitality for any stadium. So, Nick, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words.
And also with me is, well, it's probably not San Diego, Jared. It's not Atlanta, Jared, for sure. It's not L.A., Jared, but who are you?
Sweaty back, Jared.
Sweaty man back, Jared, with a sweaty back. Why so sweaty?
It's only 100 million degrees here.
Yes, it's like lava air. Lava air.
Lava air, yeah.
And Nick said that he isn't even used to it because why is that, Nick?
I only go to school at Arizona State, so the school year wraps up the first week of May. Last year I was gone first week of May. Now I'm staying through the middle to the end of the month, so it's 105 degrees right now. It'll get hotter over the course of the year. Not a huge fan.
So it's kind of safe to say that if you had it your way, you probably wouldn't live here year-round?
And if it were up to me, I would not live here year-round. I can't deal with the heat on a regular basis.
So if I were to ask you if you wanted to live in Minnesota year-round or Arizona year-round, which one are you choosing and why?
I will choose Arizona for the fact that it does have nearly year-round baseball. It gives me the opportunity to go to spring training, the fall league. There's some workouts going on in the winter, and during the summer I can stay indoors. I'll survive.
Okay, that's fair. Jared, which one would you pick?
That's a toughie. You can always put more clothes on, but you can't ever take more clothes off.
I could skin you.
So I'd have to say Minnesota.
Ooh, and the deciding vote right here. I'm weighing it out. My heart says Minnesota.
I knew you would say otherwise.
But my brain says, for baseball-wise, siding with Arizona. So I'm going to have a house in each and retire down to Arizona. Best of both worlds?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a baseball fan, Arizona's the best state to live in. There's really no argument against it.
Yeah, you have the Fall League, which is an extension after the season is done. You have that early workout starting in February. I mean, really, the only downtime is maybe some December and January.
January, yeah, pretty much.
And even then, I'm sure there's some guys that hit the facilities around here that come to some of these spring training areas and, probably use the fields a little bit, or at least the inner facilities.
I wouldn't recommend just showing up to stadiums in December and January hoping there will be players there. But if you follow some guys on Twitter, maybe they'll post a picture on their Instagram story, perhaps, of them working out at the stadium. You never know.
Dang. Jared, what have you noticed doing a, air quotes, lap around the stadium?
We only made it halfway.
Why was that? Did you get too hot?
No, we couldn't find a way around.
Yeah, there is a train track that pretty much goes right on the south side of it that blocks it, and then there's some warehouses, and it's all fenced off. I think that's going to be in your ratings. If I'm just trying to be an outside person, that's going to detract from it. But the thing that is going to inflate it is actually this shaded area that we're at by Gate B where the season ticket holders come in. It's nice and spacious. It actually kind of reminds me of Minute Maid Park on the side where it's covered. It has a big area. You could probably even have some performances. I could see maybe some small live bands showing up. It could really be a cool atmosphere. Do you know if that happens at all, Nick?
Opening day was really awesome, and even going back to the postseason, it was really cool. There's the Game 7 grill right just on the other side of this little open area, and the Diamondbacks did their pre- and post-game show during the postseason and on opening day from a little platform here in front of the Game 7 grill, and on Cinco de Mayo they had live music and things like that. So it's a really fun atmosphere once more people show up.
So probably not on a Thursday night game early in the season?
No, not gonna have a big crowd here.
Missed opportunity.
Well, Jared, you could start performing.
I'll do it right now.
You could probably do a striptease because I know you want to kind of shed some of those layers.
I'm warm, yeah.
What did you wear today?
Clothes.
Who are you wearing?
Under Armour shoes, Under Armour shorts, Nats t-shirt, and a Ryder Cup gray fitted hat.
Why the Ryder Cup?
Oh,
What's special
it's
about
blue.
that?
It's blue, not gray today, isn't it?
But what's special about that?
It says USA on it.
And on the back?
It says Ryder Cup.
But where was it played?
Oh, Hazeltine, Minnesota. The future home of the only time a U.S. venue will have hosted the Ryder Cup twice.
Nice. And Nick, what are you wearing?
Right now I'm wearing an Arizona Diamondbacks purple hat. It has the 1998 opening day patch on it. The Diamondbacks have been wearing a whole bunch of different throwback uniforms over the course of the season, and this was one that I picked up at the authentic stand for $40 or $50, something like that. It was worn once by a player. I honestly don't know who. I haven't checked. I also have a Randy Johnson big unit purple T-shirt jersey, and over that I have a vest jersey from the 2001 style. It was worn by Andy Green. He was one of the Diamondbacks coaches a few years back, and I got that in a mystery grab bag jersey. And I'm wearing unexciting Nike shorts and Under Armour shoes.
Yes, your shorts are the only thing that is lacking. Otherwise, I would think that you are a player right now, and you might be confused and pulled on the field.
If there comes a point where the Diamondbacks sell the purple pinstripe pants, I will pick them up in a heartbeat. But I haven't seen them on sale yet, so I have not yet been able to buy them, unfortunately.
I mean, maybe you could just ask one of the players, instead of asking for a toss-up ball, try to toss up pants.
Shoot your shot, right?
Might as well. So, Nick, we talked a little bit when we went out to eat, and I'm really curious about your major and what you plan on doing with it. I know that you have some exciting news for what you're going to do this summer. Do you want to tell the audience exactly what you're doing and where you'll be doing it?
So I'm a sports journalism major at Arizona State's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. I've gotten a lot of really cool opportunities in the field of journalism and broadcasting over the last couple of years. But this summer I will be serving as the play-by-play voice for the Sonoma Stompers. They're an independent league baseball team in the Pacific Association, which is a 6-team league in Northern California in the Bay Area. So there's 6 independent league teams. It is professional baseball. The players get paid. I get paid as well. And I'll be broadcasting an 80-game schedule by myself from the end of May, essentially Memorial Day to Labor Day.
That is very awesome. I think I speak for Jared and I when I say that we wish we were doing that. Jared, do you have any advice, being a former meteorologist yourself? I mean, you can totally relate, right?
I can totally relate. I spent 0 hours in front of the TV screen in a live setting
A little bit, because you did have a highlight reel. I remember. Is it still on YouTube?
It is still on YouTube. You can check it out. It's pretty
What is it called if people want to look it up?
Jared Weisler demo reel or something like that. Yeah. Actually, you know what's funny about that? My mom just found it. She was cleaning out some basement stuff at her old house and just found it in a box and sent it to me. She goes, "I just saw this. This is hilarious. Thank you for sending me a copy."
Is that really what you wanted to hear, though, that this is hilarious?
I mean, everybody has that situation where they look back on their time as high school or college, whatever, the demo reels, and they're like, okay, that was
the
stupid.
Growing pains?
Yes, very much so.
That was your awkward teenager years, basically, in front of the camera?
Yep, pretty much.
Sweet. And there's also a dog coming by. I love seeing the dogs at the ballpark. I know that they work, but they make me smile every time. It's a nice golden lab. So where was I? We were talking about Nick's profession and career.
Advice for Nick?
Yes.
I don't, because I didn't do a whole lot of radio stuff. So,
do you wish that you would have stuck with it, or maybe gone into something similar to what Nick did? I know that, Nick, you also said that you're taking some photography classes. Is that correct?
Yes, I've been doing everything from, I've loved photography, and I've done a bunch of that this year. I've also done writing, videography. I've done a bunch of production stuff as well. Every possible angle and aspect of journalism I've done. But yeah, outside of broadcasting, photography is probably my number 2 niche right now.
Would you have liked that if that was offered at St. Cloud?
Well, they did have a broadcast school that
or like
produces quite a lot of people.
If it was tied closer to meteorology, if they had that kind of aspect.
Yeah, I mean,
or do you think that you just weren't ready for it?
We had some ties, but not quite like that. So I don't think I was ready for that because I picked it up late in school. So if I had sort of been more self-aware on what I wanted to do going forward, I think I probably would have picked it up a lot sooner.
Would you go back for that now?
Yeah. Sure, why not?
Interesting. Cool. Well, I think that I don't know. Do you want to talk about the stadium? I guess we could talk a little bit about the stadium, right, since we're there. Anything that we should be on the lookout for, any recommendations for whether it's getting balls, getting sights, getting shots for Jared for photography? What would you recommend in Chase Field?
Chase Field, at the beginning, when they're introducing and welcoming you to the stadium, they claim that they're the most unique venue in Major League Baseball, and I think that's absolutely true. There are a lot of unique views and sight lines and things about the stadium that are really cool. I mean, if you go behind home plate, the video board looms large over center field, and they have a couple of sections that actually overhang the field in the outfield, which is really unique. You obviously have the pool in right center field that's worth checking out. But overall, it's a really cool stadium. Even the upper deck has really awesome views. The seats right behind home plate are actually below the field level, so essentially your head is at field level, which is really, really cool. So a lot of different unique spaces that you're not going to find at a lot of Major League stadiums, so much that's worth checking out.
That's awesome. So is the pool basically used every game, or how does that work?
Asking for a friend, can I be fully clothed jumping into the pool to cool off?
The pool is a group rental area, essentially a suite. There are a bunch of really cool suites around the ballpark. There's a suite, the section right behind home plate, the first few rows are actually the batter's box suite. You can rent out, it's like $4,000 or something like that. There's a little suite on each side of the foul pole side of each dugout. It's the dugout suite or something like that.
I saw those tickets and they look freaking amazing.
Yeah, and then there's also the pool. So there are a lot of cool, unique, different suite options that you don't get. But yeah, the pool is something that's rented on a game-by-game basis by a group, and it is very, very expensive.
What's the nicest seat that you've been able to have here in the ballpark?
The nicest seat that I've been able to have so far, it's really cool. The Diamondbacks, I'm a season ticket holder, and with your season ticket plan, you get what they call experience credits. And I have a half season plan in the bleachers, so I got 60 experience credits. And every team has you have the MLB Ballpark app where you can check into the game, and sometimes there are exclusive giveaways and things like that. And you can oftentimes upgrade your seat for essentially the difference in the cost of the ticket that you have versus what the ticket costs. And the Diamondbacks, instead of charging season ticket holders, you can use 10 experience credits to upgrade your seat, essentially for free. And so I've used my experience credits a couple of times to upgrade to the second row behind home plate, which is really cool. I guess the second row in the section next to the dugout, which is, you're close, you're right up to the action. It's really cool. That's probably my favorite place that I've sat so far.
And did you get a ball that night?
I did get a ball. It was at the end of the game. I did not get one during the game because the screens make it tough. But after the game, I went right down the umpire tunnels right there, and I got an umpire ball after the game.
That is fantastic. And speaking of balls after the game, this year, kind of going back to what you said about I remember now, the throwback uniforms, they're doing that because it is the 20th anniversary, so they have a very nice commemorative logo. How do you feel about commemorative baseballs?
I absolutely love commemorative baseballs, and I love how many there are in Major League Baseball this year. 7 different teams have them, and 5 of them are on the West Coast, which is convenient for me. The A's have used a few different commemoratives this year, and I've managed to snag all of those. The Dodgers have a really nice logo. The Giants and Rockies both have really nice logos, and then the Diamondbacks logo. There are a lot of cool things to it that I just absolutely love.
Where do you think the Diamondbacks logo stacks compared to the other ones, at least when we're talking about the commemorative baseballs?
In terms of commemorative baseballs, I don't think it's at the top. I really like the Dodgers logo. The Rays also did a really good job, but I definitely say it's top 3 for sure.
Awesome. And going back to the Athletics, I would say is that where your heart is with the A's?
Yeah, the A's are the team that I grew up watching. They'll always be my favorite team, but it's nice that the Diamondbacks play in the National League, because now I can have an American League team and a National League team and not feel bad about it.
And you don't have to root for the Giants, right?
That is correct. I can always root against the Giants.
I mean, you wouldn't naturally do that anyways, would you?
Oh, no, of course not.
No, because the Bay Area is friendly and they love each other, right?
Yep, that's how that works, totally.
Yeah, there's no animosity between the two, especially when you're talking about a basketball team that goes from one town to the next.
Oh, there are a lot of people upset about it. Warriors moving from Oakland to San Francisco because apparently there are more fans in San Francisco than there are in Oakland, and apparently they can get a nicer arena or something like that. I don't know.
I think it's probably just because they have the money right now, because there's a lot of technology business in San Francisco, but from what I hear, a lot of people are actually moving out of San Francisco now and trying to get away because it's unaffordable. So how is that affected Oakland? Has there been a lot of overflow from San Francisco of the technology folks, or is it kind of are they so separate that they have different types of crowds?
I definitely think the two cities have different types of crowds. The advantage that Oakland does have, though, is that it's still less expensive than San Francisco. San Francisco is so incredibly expensive because it's right on the ocean. Oakland is not right on the ocean. They're on the bay, but they're not on the ocean. And it's not as necessarily safe as a city like San Francisco is, so there are people that have moved from San Francisco to Oakland. I think more people are moving even farther outside of the Bay Area to find cheaper housing than just taking the L and making the commute.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for now. Maybe we'll do a post-game recap of the experience. And Jared, any parting words?
You might need to peel me out of my seat.
Out of like your physical seat or out of your pants?
Both.
Yummy. He's basically wearing fruit roll-ups now on his pants.
Melty.
Any parting words, Nick?
It should be a fun game. I'm excited.
Me too. Another stadium to cross off the list. Hopefully another commemorative baseball to add to the collection. And outside of that, I just want to experience what it's like inside of these gates. And we have maybe about half an hour before they open. So wish us luck. Talk to you soon. Post-game recap!
You just redlined your audio.
Maybe. Jared, Chase Field. First off, how did you do?
On what?
Balls.
I caught one baseball. It was the third out of the 10th inning, bottom of the 10th inning, from Nats first baseman Matt Adams.
That is pretty darn cool. And what is special about that?
It has a logo on it.
Yay! And I got 8 for tonight, 3 with the logo, as we pull in to not our apartment, or not apartment, Jesus. Our hotel. It looks like they're doing some road work by it now. That's pretty cool.
We can still get in.
Yep.
TV timeout while we get in too.
No, we're good. Travelodge is up here. Anywho, so 8-1. That's pretty darn cool. But yet again, the home team loses 2-1 in extra innings. 11 innings. We get bonus baseball. Jared, what did you think of the field?
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I actually kind of liked the ballpark as it was. We've talked many times offline about how I'm not a fan just of dome stadiums in general.
Retractable, right?
Sorry, yes, retractable stadiums, roof stadiums. And frankly, I still am not a fan of retractable roof stadiums. I think retractable roofs are an entire waste of money, but I totally understand why a team like the Diamondbacks would need a stadium with some type of roof on it.
And why is that? Would today have proven that in some way?
Today was a prime example because the daytime high reached 105 today.
Yep.
And so we melted with our snow bodies for an hour and a half while we waited in line before the game.
Luckily, it was covered with a canopy, which was crucial.
And we found a vendor outside who just happened to be selling bottles of water
That were frozen.
That were partially frozen already, so that saved our lives probably.
And I snuck mine in accidentally, but I got to finish it at the ballpark.
Yeah, so the ballpark actually is a decent ballpark from my perspective.
Compared to the other ones on our trip so far, there's only been 2 others. Where does it fall?
Ooh, I'd have to take some more time to think about that.
Do you think it's at least kind of close to Petco?
Maybe.
So it's not in like a class that's totally
if only
terrible.
For what Petco has problems with, in my mind, Chase has in spades. For instance, the concourses are very easy to navigate. and nice and wide. Now, obviously, there's capacity for 60,000 people there or whatever it is, and so they have to accommodate with pretty wide concourses, but with the way the seating levels are arranged. However, at Petco, it's not a nightmare, but it's just really disjointed and kind of a pain in the ass, especially if you're a new person or don't go to the ballpark as much for whatever reason. So what one lacks, the other has pretty well, and vice versa. So
I really liked the outfield area too, that you could use the concourse to get back and forth. It was super quick, super nice, and the quirks about it, and really the outfield and even the retractable part reminded me a lot of Minute Maid, and I'd be curious to see what you think of Minute Maid. You might be under the same kind of philosophy that maybe the retractables aren't as bad in your head. They're probably not ideal, but they just kind of come with the territory.
That would be reasonable to say. I dislike mostly the fact that, from what I've seen, especially like I'll say with Chase, is it's a square ballpark, or the building is square, but they orient it so that the outfield and home plate are on one of the sides instead of in the corners. And so, while that's all well and good, it creates this really wonky outfield section with mega power alleys. And I personally don't like that as just a spectator, and probably as a player. Now, granted, I'm cool with like quirky areas and things like that, but that's one of the things that I'm not personally a fan of, unless it's a forced situation. You needed a new stadium, you found a parcel of land, and you literally had to shoehorn something in, and that's what you got out of it. Cool, I'm cool with that, but I just think that that's a weird situation for me, and I have a hard time wrapping my head around that.
I kind of like that just because it was so different, but I can see where there's some detraction. That left center power alley was insane. I mean, that's high, that's deep. But at the same time, during BP, some guys are hitting it out,
and
which
I
is
absolutely
insane.
hate the fact that a straightaway home run, you have to hit it like 1,000,000 feet off the ground just for it to be counted as a home run. Whereas every other ballpark, it's a standard 400 feet or 410 feet or whatever it is, So it's got to be a mega blast to get it out that far.
You enjoyed the upper deck, correct? The top row of the upper deck?
I was going to get to that. So what I like about the seating arrangement is the fact that my preference is to have all of the seats behind home plate, between the foul poles, right? So you're looking out towards the play, right, instead of looking back in towards home plate. Now, I'm okay with having seats in the outfield, but what I really dislike is the high seats in a second or third deck that are in fair territory from left field to right field foul pole. Those seats are generally so far away and so high, it blocks what could be potentially a really great view and a good orientation for the ballpark and all these other things that, to me, it's just ridiculous to have those. However, what ends up happening, and so Chase Field doesn't have that, right? They just have a couple of seating sections that go from either foul pole and then sort of taper off as they get to just not quite the power alley, but just before that, almost 50 feet or whatever towards center field of each outfielder, maybe a little farther probably. But what that ends up doing then is that forces so many seats behind home plate, and in a stadium like this, I guess they decided we need 60,000 seats. So what did they do?
It feels like they just had a lot of space to the end, to like the back wall,
and they filled it with seats. Exactly. And
they went up high.
And so if you get, now I don't remember how many rows Kaufman had in the upper deck. I know it's quite a lot.
But it does taper towards the edges.
Right. The most of the rows are directly behind home plate. Yep. Whereas in this ballpark, there are 40 rows on the left field side in deep left field along the line. That is ridiculous. Now, I've learned the hard way that that's not optimal because, number one, the viewing there sucks, right? And I mean, granted, it's not terribly bad, but I think it sucks because you're so high and so far away. And when I'm out there taking pictures, I'm here taking one from the bottom of the deck and then going all the way to the top to get a little bit different of an angle. And then I walk across, take another picture. I walk like 5 or 6 sections over, take a picture from the top, and then walk down that section to get a picture from the front, and then walk over and have to go back up another 40 rows, and your legs get so goddamn tired.
Not to mention that fisheye photo from the top will look like half of the frame is all those seats and then a tiny little field.
Exactly. Where's the field? Let's play Where's Waldo. Where's the field? Oh, I guess I can see a little patch of green out there because it's going to look so far away. Now, I think it looks cool, but It's still like 40 rows is a lot. Now, on the right field side, I think it goes up to like 35 or something, so not quite as high, but still, what's 5 rows? Like, it's a long ways, so, yeah.
So I think that was a good place. I personally enjoyed it. It was overall a positive experience.
Agreed.
I can't stress enough how awesome Nick was. What did you think of Nick?
He's a nice boy.
Yes, very nice boy. So if you come out here, say hi to him, tell him you're in town. He'll definitely want to meet you. Yeah, I think that's it for Chase. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more tomorrow as we're waiting at the gates for Angel Stadium. The tour continues, the 4th game in 5 days, and we're probably going to get some sleep now and also check the weather of Denver. Hopefully it's improved a little bit.
Might have to buy some pants on the way out of town.
I have pants, so that's
You're
good.
Lucky. You might need to wash them, though. They're kind of sweaty.
I also brought another pair of pants.
Oh, well, you lucky dog.
I'm smart. For once, I'm smart.
In that case, you're probably going to want to throw those pants in the garbage because of how disgusting they probably are.
Or to save space?
No, just because they're disgusting. But
what about the space?
Well,
how do you feel about my space?
You're going to gain probably 3 baseballs worth of space if you roll those pants. And then, yeah, you're probably going to gain 3 baseballs worth of space. So far,
Jared's been giving me a hard time because I have too many baseballs and too many records and not enough space for carry-ons. And
Tony wants to, instead of shipping his precious baseballs back home, he wants to just ship his old clothes because I can't let the baseballs out of my sight. Looney Tunes.
That's not so crazy. And any other people that are out there, maybe I'll make a poll when this comes out, and you can tell me whose side you're on. Are you on Jared's side where you would ship the balls back, or are you on my side where you ship the dirty laundry back?
That's clown shoes crazy.
Also, hold on.
Shipping from FedEx or UPS to guarantee the safety of your balls.
Hold on. But shipping balls is heavier than clothes.
Not
so
necessarily.
I would,
for the amount of space,
28 baseballs compared to that much clothes, it's not gonna.
I'm not sure.
Plus, I might have more tomorrow too.
Whatever.
Yeah, I just made another argument, and you're seeing it now. You're seeing the light.
I don't see any light.
Vote. Team Tony or Team Jared? Remind me to put that Twitter poll
Your
up.
balls are more safe in a FedEx than the Yachty and Molina's were today, so...
Ouch, too soon. On that note, good night.